Good morning and welcome to Coffee Ann, the longest running panel discussion show in American radio. To make a comment or ask a question of the panel, call 401-766-1240 or email coffee@woonsocket.radio.com. And now, let's join the Coffee Ann panel.
And a good morning to you. It is Coffee Ann time now on ON AM and FM. Thanks for joining us this morning. My name's Joe Callahan at the Coffee Ann table. There's Tim Draper from Navigant Credit Union. Hi,
Good
Tim.
morning, Joe.
Good morning to you.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well. And normally we have Melissa Smith from the St. Antoine Communities, but she cannot be here today.
Yes.
So there's Dave Richards as
He does
Melissa
not
Smith.
look like Melissa Smith.
No, not at all.
Can I talk about continuum of care?
You can if you like.
Just say
Thanks
the words and we'll know.
I mean, that's the only
bringing it
reason
up.
I came today.
Is to say that?
Well, because I know that Melissa will hear it. We'll say it. And,
All right.
And that's why I want to be able to say it.
But our first segment sponsor of the Coffee Ann program is the St. Antoine Communities.
The ultimate in assisted living is the Villa at St. Antoine. St. Antoine Community offers older adults a continuum of care to realize their fullest potential and highest level of independence through the support of dedicated professionals. Activities 7 days a week to keep the body and mind engaged. Come in for a tour today and learn about the St. Antoine Way. Villa at St. Antoine, 400 Mendon Road, North Smithfield.
All right, it is Coffee Ann here on ON AM and FM.
And she did say continuum of care.
Did.
Yeah, that's right. So
That wasn't Melissa.
Because it is.
No.
It is a continuum.
That was a paid professional.
Over Autumn Fest, Dave talks to a lot of people that come
sure,
by.
yeah.
And Dave, tell Tim and the listeners what people say about
yeah.
the Coffee Ann program, and especially
I wish I was
Wednesdays.
saying.
Oh, boy.
I wish
Oh,
I was
no.
saying with Melissa here, but all during Autumn Fest, Joe and Tim, you bump into people and they say, "I love that girl on Wednesdays on Coffee Ann. She doesn't say her name enough. What's her name?"
Melissa.
Right. And I told him, Melissa Smith. I said, she is so perky. She is so fun to listen to, and she always has something interesting to say.
Isn't that
She
great?
does. It's great.
Wouldn't it be great if she were here to hear me say
Well,
that?
that would
Right,
be
I know.
even
Well, you know
better.
what?
But
There
I'm not
is a
just talking
recording.
about
She can
one
watch it.
person. I'm talking about a number of people are saying
Right.
this to me.
Right. Well, she is. She's a lot of fun. She brings a great element to the show.
She does.
Well, next week Melissa will be back, so we'll say it
and
to her
and now
then,
if we
so-
listen
And I
carefully,
won't.
we can hear everybody go, click, shut off the radios because Melissa's not there.
That's right.
Oh,
It's just
don't
those,
do that.
those guys, so just shut them off.
Well, speaking of Autumn Fest, 2 of the Autumn Fest button cash prizes have been claimed.
Yes.
All right.
The 2 biggies. The
I heard-
$500 one has been claimed, and the $250 has been claimed.
You said
Still waiting for the
500 was
100.
claimed that day, right?
No, the $250 was claimed on closing ceremonies.
Oh, okay.
500 yesterday morning.
500 yesterday.
Okay.
And so the $100 prize is still out there. It is button number 5096. If that's yours, call 769-6925 to claim your button, and do so quickly, because if they don't get a winner or someone to claim that they're the winner, they will pull a new number on Monday, and with that person will have a week as well. So we still have time to claim your $100 at 5096.
Shall we tell Joe what we just saw in your text?
Sure. So we have a panelist who is in fact listening to the show because she says my heart is full. Love you guys
Melissa
too.
was hearing me say that. Oh,
She did.
that makes me feel
that
good.
sweet?
There you
Because
go.
remember, I wanted to say it in front of Melissa.
I know. Well, it's funny because there's times when I won't be able to come in because there's a meeting going on, and sometimes my meetings start at 8:30. They don't start at 8.
Sure.
So almost daily, I'll flip the YouTube on. The YouTube. Listen to me like
the
the
YouTube.
Google, the Panera.
Yeah.
I'll flip
You
the.
don't listen on the website?
Yeah, that's what I mean on the website. Sorry, I
Okay,
go to the website, which is a YouTube feed, isn't it?
Well, it is temporarily.
Okay, all right. So I go to the website.
I'm making arrangements to improve it.
Oh, okay. Because look at the
You ever
bottom,
hear
like
of
that's
Roku?
YouTube. Yeah. That's the TV thing, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but we're in the process of opening up a Roku channel because YouTube can't handle what we're doing anymore.
So you should be able to then sit at home if you have a Roku box in your house,
Sure.
and just
or
flip
Roku
on
TV.
ON1.
And it will
Yeah.
be an icon.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
So anyway,
that's
when
coming.
you
I
turn
want to
on-
have that for the Milk Fund auction.
When you
Nice.
turn on the Google.
So when I turn on I will listen to the show and watch it.
Yeah.
I should more listen to it because it's on my computer behind me, so I'll listen to it more than anything else. But I pretty much do it kind of every day.
Well, great.
Every day that I'm
Careful what
here.
you say about Tim then on a
Yeah, I know. Be
Wednesday
careful what you say.
or a Thursday.
Well, sometimes I'll send Joe a text. I'm like, "Hey, stream's down. My fault or yours?"
Yeah.
That's right. And it's usually ours.
Well, if you miss a button, you know.
We did get a note that was called in late yesterday. We're getting to it today, 766-1240, and it's about the mayoral debate, the Woonsocket mayoral debate that took place on Channel 12
Right.
last Friday. Tough timing for Dave and I to watch it because
Oh, yeah,
ready for
'cause of
Autumn
Autumn
Fest.
Fest.
And
I know.
All of the airings were on during the Autumn Fest weekend.
And I still haven't had a chance to go back and it's on their website, I know. And you can watch it ahead of time. Watched it. Who won? This person thought it was even. Did you happen to see it at all?
I didn't. I just
Tim?
saw the news. They did a little quick wrap up on the news.
Okay.
You can't tell from that.
No.
Well,
They both look pretty good, though. I mean,
I was only able to see John Ward during Autumn Fest after it took place, and I asked him, what do you think? Obviously, you probably thought you won. Well, he said yes. Overall, how did he go? And he thought no one really landed a knockout shot. He didn't land one, and Chris didn't land one. It was a very cordial thing. It was
Right.
just a lot of back and
was
forth
collegiate.
of the ideas. And but he thought he went well. He thought he made his points very clear. So he was happy with his performance.
Yeah.
Now they're having
but
another
that's what a
debate.
debate is supposed to be,
right.
Joe.
The vice president's
Well, no,
debate, I thought was like that.
yes, it was. Well, your
I mean,
ultimate
people-
objective is to win.
People expect it to be a fighting match where
Oh,
they're
well,
going
right.
for the title, and
Going for
I'm
the
going to
jugular,
subdue
yeah.
the. But that's just people's imagination.
Yeah.
Debates are supposed to be a controlled discussion of the issues, so that the listeners or viewers know what the issues are, and then choose
And their
which
sides.
position on the issue they favor and assign it to the candidate, and then vote for the candidate. It's not there to do away with your opposition. I mean, that's not
Now
what the
there's-
original thing
new
was.
There's
version
another
of the
debate
MMA.
coming up.
There is.
That's going to happen at
I'm
the
very, very
at the Gus
pleased.
Ayotte Center.
See,
Senior
years
Center.
ago, it used to be, the radio station had to put on all these debates, and it, we took our responsibility seriously, but then it got to be like I was just saying, whereas it was just an awful time for the station to do its public service and gather everybody together and rent a hall and all the expense and get somebody else to help out with volunteers and things, because it was much bigger than our staff could handle and still do with daily business. But then we would moderate the debate and put it on the air and everything else, and you would have these in this century, which is when we stopped doing it. You would have these candidates just misbehave and use us as some public forum to humiliate an opponent. I said, that's not what we're here for, boys. That's what I'm here for.
Okay.
And we even had things like, Charlie Baldelli and I have been, cordial friends for a number of years. He used to come on the Coffee and Show and stuff and chat and things like that. He hasn't done that in a little while, but Charlie's getting a little longer in the tooth, and he doesn't keep the same schedule he used to. But the point, even Charlie Baldelli, the last time we went on the air with a debate that we sponsored was at the Senior Center. And in the hall, we had a nice audience. We had all the candidates came, and Charlie was running for re-election at the time, and we were live on the radio. Didn't have TV back then, and so he's up there and he's doing his thing, and I got the clock and I got big red numbers going by so they can see when their time is up, and like that. And then Charlie gets down to time, and I give him just a few seconds to finish the sentence, and then he doesn't finish the sentence. He keeps on going, and so I interrupt him. And he looks at me and says, "What are you interrupting me for?" I says, "Your time's been out now for like 10 seconds. He says, "My time? I don't recognize that." He says, I said, "Well, you have to recognize it. We're going to have to shut the microphone off." He says, "I own this mic. I'm mayor of the city. This is a city building."
He sounds like Ronald Reagan.
Right. And I said to myself, this ain't worth it anymore.
Yeah.
So, but we had to do it years ago because the League of Women Voters were of no help.
Okay.
And we would even call them and ask them, "Do you want to do this with us? We're going to put it on anyway, but would you like to be part of this and be a partner with us?" oh, we can't do that. We don't have the volunteers and stuff. So now comes
Things have
in my
changed.
email
Yeah.
yesterday, the League of Women Voters of Rhode Island is sponsoring a debate by their onesies.
All right.
And I am so proud of these people for pulling themselves by their bootstraps. Because this is what the League of Women Voters was originally designed to do, to promote a lively debate, which is why we were doing it, to promote a lively debate of public issues. And I am so proud that they're doing this, and any help that I could give them, I'd be very pleased to. They went and got an associate professor at Providence College, Joseph Camarano. I don't know the man, Dr. Joseph Camarano.
But someone from outside the city
Will
who has no
moderate- right.
no
It'd be
horse
a nice
in this,
third
this
party,
run.
right?
So.
Because I mean, I ended up having to host the debates, moderate the debates myself, because I was with the station, and the station, I mean, that was the way it was. I got the short straw. So, and then they've got the incumbent and the challenger there, and there's a $5 suggested donation at the door would be appreciated, but you can come in for free if you ain't got $5. It's at the Gaston A. Art Senior Center, 84 Social Street, and when is it? Thursday, October 24th. That's a week from tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Thursday, October 24th at 7 p.m., a week from tomorrow. Chris Beauchamp and John Ward will both be there, and they will debate the issues in the senior center. So I'll tell you, this is. I am just so excited about this. I hope that everybody who wants to can go there, and hope they can fit them all.
It's going to be televised, Dave?
It doesn't say it is.
It doesn't say anything like that. They didn't ask for any media partnership. They, what can I say? But the League of Women Voters is back, friends, and I'm proud of them.
All right, very good. Moving on to other things. I don't know if you saw it, Tim, but we had the story yesterday of the man that fell overboard while fishing down there again.
So
Oh,
the
yeah,
football
yeah,
coach
yeah.
in North Kingstown, right?
Former football
coach.
But coaching for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And still a teacher
Yeah.
down there.
Right.
I don't have the name in front of me right now.
Nobody saw it happen, but they saw
McGinley-
the boat was going
McGinley or
in
something?
circles,
Yeah.
and then they eventually made
Apparently,
the emergency
you
call.
can wear something that will kill the switch.
It's kill switch. You attach it to a piece of clothing with a little
That's right.
clip, and it wraps around the key. And if you should fall out, it
Kills
trips
the
a
boat.
switch and it turns the boat off.
Yeah.
You're
Well,
supposed to wear that.
he
That's
wasn't
that's
doing-
like a
Yeah,
But he's-
I don't agree with that.
He
at
said
all.
he was very well known in Galilee, and it was
Yeah.
down there. It said went fishing in all kinds of weather, so they don't know what happened.
yeah. You wonder if
This
he had
kinda
some
thing.
sort of medical episode.
Well, it was
that
Monday,
caused him to
and
fall?
we didn't have
Maybe.
good weather in the morning, and it
No.
wouldn't have stopped him.
So
But I don't. I totally disagree with it. Just like
On
I
the kill
disagree with
switch?
some of the. Yeah, just like I disagree with some of the seatbelt rules and regulations that they have. I don't think that they promote safety in most likely conditions. I don't. And you can debate me on that if you like, but that's my opinion. The kill switch, this guy, at least his body was recovered and his boat was recovered because it was going around in circles, because the tiller was hit and it started circling where he was. And I say that is more valuable than a drifting boat.
Well, I think the concern is that if you fall overboard and the kill switch cuts the engine, the propeller stops and you won't get run over and
Yeah, right.
chopped up.
Okay, fine.
So what's interesting
just the
though,
other side of the argument.
I'm not persuaded.
I had so I have a little pontoon boat, and I have
the-
that same thing.
if
I
the-
don't ever wear it.
If I fell over, now I spent a lot of time down there as a youth, but if I fell over from the boat, I would want the boat staying in my vicinity and circling me, so that perhaps I can get myself to a point where I can latch on.
Well, if it's going and the motor's going and you're trying to latch on that boat, you got to be really lucky
Yes,
and
you
really
do.
careful.
But when I was growing up, they always took a line, because we don't call them ropes on a boat. They always took a line, and on either side, you always drifted a line off the side. That was something that you learned as a kid growing up. You drift a line off the side. It didn't stay far into the water, but it was over the side, so it could be grabbed onto.
Yeah, makes sense.
it's like Tim and I went back in our volunteer firefighting days. The hose is not called the hose.
Right? It's a
It
line.
was the line.
It was the line.
Yeah. Well, I never understood why that was, but
I know because
it's a four-letter word
It's a
or a four-letter word.
it's a straight line.
It's a straight line.
straight line.
It is right. Oh, okay. All right, we're going to take our break here on the Coffee Inn program and letting you know that the first segment sponsor of Coffee Inn has been the Villa at St. Antoine. You can call in your comments and questions at 766-1240.
The ultimate in assisted living is the Villa at St. Antoine. St. Antoine Community offers older adults a continuum of care to realize their fullest potential and highest level of independence through the support of dedicated professionals. Activities 7 days a week to keep the body and mind engaged. Come in for a tour today and learn about the St. Antoine Way. Villa at St. Antoine, 400 Mendon Road, North Smithfield.
Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse offers authentic homemade Polish food to make your next meal special. Try our many varieties of hot and fresh pierogies with onions and what they call dirty sour cream. Or pick up gołąbki, kielbasa, babkas, or some fresh rye bread. We also offer a large selection of specialty and imported foods. Open Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays, 9 in the morning till 6 p.m., Wednesdays, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturdays from 8 to 5 p.m. It's Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse. Follow us on Facebook and learn about our weekly specials. Located at 855 Social Street, Woonsocket, Krakow Deli Bakery Smokehouse has all the authentic Polish foods you love.
The Coffee and Panel is enjoying coffee from Down East Coffee Roasters. All their coffee is roasted right here in Rhode Island. Down East Coffee Roasters is available at all Little General stores.
ON, AM, and FM.
It's Coffee In on ON Radio. Thanks for joining us. This is Joe Callahan here with Tim Draper, and Dave Richards is here as well.
I am.
So I read this
Not for long,
yesterday.
though. I've got
Not for
things
long.
I gotta do.
Melissa Smith is prepping for the bishop.
That's right.
Visit to St. Antoine.
So let me get through this whole thing before Dave jumps in and say, "Well, Joe, you got this is why." And it's got to do with
I got a
the bridge.
reputation.
You got a bit of one,
This has
buddy.
got to do with the bridge down there in East Providence. And okay, they're going to start tearing it apart again, and the people have got to deal with the loud jackhammering again. Sorry about that, but it's got to do with the rebuilding of the after we take this down. And I read it yesterday, and it's from a layperson's perspective, and this is what frustrates us lay people of why is it like this? Okay, in December, this is from Peter Alviti, by the way, quoting him, paraphrasing him. In December, they're going to narrow it down to 2 of the best companies to rebuild this bridge. They're going to pick 2 out of whatever proposals they got. Okay, and we're going to pick it in December. We'll make a decision.
Of next year?
No, December of this year. So in 2 months, we're going to make a decision. We'll announce it in January who we're going with.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. In January, we start deliberating between the 2 companies. And we'll make an announcement in June to start building in July.
Yeah.
And that's what drives lay people crazy of why does this take so long?
Well, my question is, how do we know who's in the running right now? Do they have a
We
group
don't,
of-
because they're still bringing them in, I think.
Yeah, I don't think they have an RFP out yet, though.
They've
a
sent
request
some-
for information.
They've
the RFI.
sent something else out.
Right, an RFI, which is a request
And
for
so
information.
they think they're going to have what they need in December.
So-
they can make a decision of which companies they're going to pick from.
Really?
But if I want to pick Tim's construction company, and now I wait 6 months,
Right.
and say, Tim, you've won. I want you to build my
But
bridge.
there has to be some
But-
sort of a design, and there has to be some sort
Well,
of a
right.
competitive process to see who's going to.
That's going on now. And let's say we bring it down to the 2. And in December, I picked you out of
Yeah, I don't-
Dave and Tim. I picked you.
I don't think that's going on now. I could
But
be. I could be
but that's
wrong.
what I read from Malvides from on Channel 12's
Yeah, well, that's
website.
the problem. It's so confusing coming
Okay.
out of there. I don't know.
But let's say I pick you.
Yeah.
Let's say I'm Alvidi and I pick you.
Yeah.
But I wait all the way to June of next year.
Yeah.
Okay, Tim, you've won, and I want you to start working in July.
Yeah.
And you come back to me. I've got project A, B, and C going on. I can't start in July.
Right.
I can start in November.
Right.
And now it's a year from now before we even start building this thing.
Right. Well, I mean, that's
All right.
the issue with this whole
I
this
know.
whole thing
Why
has
does
been
this take
so
so
nightmare.
Then they would be
Okay, Dave, back to you now.
Well, it seems to me in your scenario
Yeah.
that they would be disqualified because they cannot start the work as prescribed in the bid.
All right, so in the bid it'll say, yes, we can start in July?
I believe it would.
Okay.
But the question is,
Lay
what
person.
exactly does start mean? Does it
Okay.
mean I'm going to put some stuff on the site and make it look like I'm doing things?
Dave, do you
versus
have an
extra
opinion
construction?
on why does this take 6 months to decide on who to
Yes.
pick?
Yes, it's government.
I know the government, and yes, we should look at it and ask questions and send emails back and forth. I get it, but 6 months to pick a company?
Well, the state only has meetings
Because you
monthly.
have to define, because whatever company you pick, you're going to have a tortuously legal contract to sign to get the job done. And you have to define every aspect of it to be put into that contract.
Yep.
And you've got lawyers that are arguing with each other, and then you've got supervisors that say, well, it's got to do this, and then you've got to have it reviewed by upper echelon to see if everything is complete, and then you've got to say, oh, no, we got to get it revised because it doesn't say this. And yeah, it takes time because everybody's doing a regular job in addition to that. This is extra work.
So this is a business example of what Dave just said. Let's just say for a second that Navigant decided that its current data processing system, the entire, which is the banking system that we use,
Right.
All right.
is not adequate enough to go forward. It doesn't have certain capabilities that we want. So we go out and we do a search. We probably would hire a company to help do a search and find companies that actually can provide those capabilities. From there, those companies come in and they do a demonstration for us. They oftentimes do several demonstrations with each department that would be using the system so they knew what they were looking at. Then there would probably be a month or two of deliberations of our executive team and the board. They'd have to sit down and look at those the two proposals, take it down to two proposals, right? They say, finally, okay, well, you know what? We're going to go with this particular company right here because we think they give us the best opportunity to grow in the future. Great. We sign the contract, the non-disclosure agreements, blah, 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 blah. And then we spend the next, to Dave's point, 3 to 4 months going back and forth with the contract. It's going to cost you X amount of dollars. We're going to provide you with this level of service. If we don't provide you with this level of service, this is the consequence. Well, now our attorneys need to get involved and they need to read that whole thing and go, well, we don't, Navigant doesn't want this, level of service. They want a greater level of service. And so that goes back to their lawyers. And then in the meantime, we only have board meetings once a month. So when the board has to make decisions on these contracts, we got to wait until the next rotation. So I would assume that state government is probably similar in the sense that the Department of Transportation's, if there's a board of directors that helps to make these decisions, may not meet on a weekly basis where they can make these decisions so fast. It may take them time, and guaranteed, to your point, it's government, and there's a million, their contracts are probably way worse than ours would ever be in terms of trying to understand the minutia in those agreements. So.
And by the way, can I just point out one other thing? 100% right there, Tim, and you illustrated what I was trying to say perfectly, but let me add this a little other thing to it. If you don't do it slow and deliberatively like this, everybody else who wanted the work or who doesn't like you or whatever and didn't get the job will start suing you because they didn't get the job and get some judge to put a restraining order in to stop the work.
everything.
So, it goes slower if you don't do it slow.
Okay.
Yeah, it is painful.
Yeah.
Now, Navigant being a private company,
Yep.
We don't see any of that going on.
Correct.
This whole thing with the bridge
Is in public.
where most of the public is watching what's going
Yep.
on, and it just
And
drives you
tapping
crazy.
their
What
foot
do you
and saying,
mean it's
"Let's
going to
get
take
on with
6?
it."
That's right.
Right, but the problem is the public that is not experienced in this type of negotiation or in this type of project or the complexity of the whole thing. This is the type of stuff that I would imagine happens all the time. We never see it because
Right.
it's not a public. It's not this bridge, but because it's this bridge, everybody's being exposed to the sausage making. It's not a pleasant thing to look at. In the end, we hope the sausage tastes good and we will drive across a nice brand new bridge. But the process is a real. It's
painful.
It's painful, and it's a process because, like Dave said, it will lead to litigation if you don't do it right. There's a lot of things. There's a lot of factors involved, but I will tell you that this is not an unusual way to do business,
Situation,
even in
okay.
business. Now, I mean, you could make an argument that a guy like Elon Musk, who owns his company, makes his decisions fast and on the fly and does them
Maybe
quick.
he does, yeah.
Right? But when you have a company that has a board of directors and there's fiduciary responsibility and those types of things to its clientele and its constituents, then yeah, you have to go slow and you have to make sure that I don't like it. Nobody should. It's painful.
And I'm thinking of the people that have to drive
Right.
over that bridge.
I think
they look ahead. Here it is October. It won't be up.
Right.
They're
Well,
not going to start
the
until
problem is-
July of next year.
Right. The problem is that they've made dates. The state's made promises.
Yeah.
They can't keep any of them. They already went out for an RFP,
And
which
no
had
one
which had
applied.
an unacceptable time frame to the contractors who said you were not going to build this bridge in that amount
That's
of time.
right.
So nobody bid on it.
Right.
Right. It's just, and then you're going to have to deal with probably the State Historical Preservation Society. You have to go through some sort of design review. The bridge is going to have to meet certain design characteristics. It's going to have to look pretty, probably match the other bridge.
Yeah.
At this stage of the game, I'm like, just put up a bunch of iron girders, throw cement on it, put tar on it, and let's go.
Well, that's what most people think, and
yeah.
we'll make it look pretty later.
Yeah, right. You know,
All right.
do some
That's just
decorative
what-
work around it.
Just my thoughts on that when I read about it yesterday. Say, oh,
And it's
we're
not
we're not even starting until next July.
Right. And the people
Wow.
in this part of the state, myself included, you know, we don't deal with that on a daily basis.
Well, right.
And I've been through it a couple times, and I will tell you, it is not a pleasant when you're coming down from 146 down to 95 south and 195
Yes.
east. That merge is taking like 6 lanes of traffic and squeezing them into 3, when it used to be 5. And
I mean, we have to deal with the 146 overpass here.
we do.
thing,
I
and
probably
it's-
won't go back that way, but I might just to see how
it's
much
not-
progress they've done.
It's you wonder when's the next step? When's the next lane going to open? Kind of thing. It's
Right.
like, well, you just
Just
gotta
remember
wait.
how long it took to make the first lane, and that's how long it's going to take to make the
Right.
next one.
All right. Another subject is Hasbro just spouting off? Hey, we've got 6 choices up there in Boston, Rhode Island. Is it calling Rhode Island bluff? Is it making Rhode Island do something to keep us here, or are they really? Do you think they're really going to go now? Initially, I thought, oh, they're not going to leave, but now I'm changing my tune.
In 2017, they did this to us once before.
Yes.
And they got a great deal out of all that other stuff. State of Rhode Island is notorious for not really caring about anybody that's in the state. They just, unless it's a crisis. And then when it's a crisis, they're jumping all over it.
Guess where we are?
We're in crisis mode.
Yeah.
This is my personal opinion. It is not any information that I have, but given the fact that in 2017 the chairman was Brian Goldner, whose family was located here, he was a fairly local guy. Alan Hassenfeld was still on the board of directors. There was a deep connection to the state of Rhode Island. I could see why in 2017 they used it as a tool to get what they wanted to get. Here we are in 2024. 0 people on that senior management and 0 people on the board have any connection to the state of Rhode Island at all. They don't care about it.
Okay.
I think
But when they
that
travel internationally, they want to say they come from Boston.
they want to say that they
opposed
come
to Rhode
because we
Island?
want the. So the governor of Boston, why would you not?
Governor of Boston.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, the governor of Massachusetts, the mayor of Boston.
Close enough.
Let's call. They just got Lego. Lego's putting their U.S. headquarters, I think, in Boston.
Okay.
And so now they're like, oh, well, Hasbro. Let's go get Hasbro. Why they wouldn't have chose to go get Mattel, I don't know, Milton Bradley, I don't know, but whatever.
They're closer.
So right, so they go to Hasbro. They start making incredible offers for those guys.
Yeah.
And they've been on that track for the last 6 months. And so to me, when you're in it that long, you're very serious about doing it. I'm not sure that the state of Rhode Island can pull anything out of its hat in order to solve that problem, which is very unfortunate because there's a lot of people that work for Hasbro that live in Rhode Island or not just Northern Rhode Island, but Southern Rhode Island. And what are they going to do? They're not going to jump on the train and head to Boston.
Some will, but
Some will
But
because they
most
have no
probably
choice.
won't, right.
But they won't. And so I look at it and say, you know what? What an interesting way to lay people off.
come with us.
Oh, you don't want
I
to come?
can't. Oh, well, then
okay. Well, then your
quit.
choice is that you don't have
we
to
don't- we
work
don't
for
have
us.
to pay 'em.
We don't have to pay you. We don't
Yeah.
have to pay you benefits. We don't have to pay you a severance package or any
Yeah.
of that.
Before you skedaddle, Dave, do you agree with Tim on this? Do you think it's Hasbro? You really think they might move, or are they just trying to get an incredible deal out of Rhode Island?
100%. Besides, I owe him one because he agreed with me 100%.
Well, there you go.
No, it's completely plausible. And believe me, any thinking person has probably imagined what Tim has already said. I didn't remember the time in 2017 that you firmly remember. So, but now that you mentioned it, I can recall it. But I wasn't remembering it this time. But I smelled a rat right from the beginning.
Yeah. It wasn't. 2017 was probably more about Pawtucket versus Providence.
Right.
Yeah.
But there was a Boston component in there as
There
well.
was. Yeah, I remember that.
Right. And
All right.
we'll see. Time will tell.
It will. All right. Dave's moving on.
Bye, Dave.
We might see Dave in the
might see
next
you,
half
Dave.
hour again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Camera, right
This weather forecast right now being sponsored by Allstate.
Mostly sunny skies today with a high of 53 degrees and a breeze from the northwest. Tonight, patchy frost after 2 a.m., otherwise clear, overnight low of 34 degrees. Thursday's weather, patchy frost in the morning, sunshine during the day with a high of 56 and a breeze from the north. Friday, sunshine in 60, Saturday, sunshine in 68, Sunday, sunshine in 72. Monday, sunshine in 74, and next Tuesday, sunny skies and 73 degrees.
Outside the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Ave and Kennedy Street, we have sunny skies and 46 degrees. Some people just know you could save money on car insurance by checking Allstate first. So what are you waiting for? Check Allstate first for a quote today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
You know, when you're paying the right price for protection, you just know it. It's that warm, fuzzy, totally secure feeling, knowing that you're not only getting great coverage, but you're also not paying too much for it. And when it comes to your insurance, there's no one better at getting the right price for your protection than Allstate agents Kara and Celeste Benjamin, because they know when it comes to your bank account, every penny counts towards something bigger, something better. Like a nicer car, that home update you've been dreaming of, or a phone that's fresh out of the box. Those little or big things that we work so hard for. And Kara and Celeste Benjamin want to help you work a little less by getting you the coverage you need and the savings you deserve when you switch to Allstate. Contact Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. One agency, 2 locations in North Smithfield and Bellingham. 765-5000 for a free quote today. Allstate, you're in good hands. And you're in good hands with Kara and Celeste Benjamin at the Benjamin Agency. Savings vary based on the average annual savings reported by new auto customers surveyed in 2019 who switched to Allstate.
This is State Senator Melissa Murray. I'd like to welcome you to Autumn Fest and congratulate this year's Grand Marshals, Roger and Mitch Savini. Thank you so much for visiting and supporting our wonderful community event. And please be sure you make a plan to vote on November 5th. Paid for by friends of Melissa Murray.
Hey, it's ON Radio's Cruisin' Bruce Palmer, and I'd love to have you join me every Saturday for the Saturday Block Party. We start at 4 o'clock when I open up the ON Music Vault for you to pick whatever you want to hear or send to somebody special. Yes, the good old radio request days are back. Join me for the Saturday Block Party, Saturdays from 4 until 7 on ON Radio and streaming online at woonsocket.radio.com.
It is Coffee In here on ON AM and FM. Thanks for joining us. Joe Callahan here with Tim Draper. Melissa Smith could not be with us this week. We believe Melissa will be back next week. Tim, it's time for a first message from Navigant Credit Union.
Thanks, Joe. We do our PSAs here. I like to take some time on my schedules, schedule commercials, to talk a little bit about the scams that are going on out there. And we had a story brought to our attention last week where a 74-year-old woman in, I want to say, New York, robbed a credit union for to try to get the money back that she sent to a boyfriend, quote unquote, in, where was he? He was in like the Middle East or something like that.
So she came in with like a gun.
74-year-old came in with a gun,
to hold up the
2 bags, one with a gun and one
for the money.
for the money.
Wow.
And they caught her. They tried her and they convicted her.
Okay.
She's got like 2 years in prison. But she was very sad about what she'd done. But it shows the
It's not
level
the
of
credit union's fault, but
right. It was the level of desperation that people find themselves in when they get stuck in these scams.
Yeah.
And so when we talk about these scams, we try to tell people to, if it doesn't sound right, it's not. If somebody, if you're feeling like you're developing a relationship with somebody online, you've never met them, you've never seen them, you've never talked to them in person, that is indicator number one that something's going on, and you need to bring your family into the conversation for a little bit of help. And if you don't want your family because you're embarrassed, then go find, a policeman, find somebody, an authority, come to the credit union. Let us help you walk through it. Again, it's a judgment-free zone. We don't want you to get scammed. But this woman lost all of her life savings, and that she was going to lose her house.
Ooh, man.
So, and now she's going to, I don't know if she's actually going to serve that time or if they're going to put her in home confinement, supervised home confinement. But at 74 years old, do you want to be convicted of bank, armed robbery. But that's the desperation that this woman felt, and it was all because of a scam that she got caught up in. And these things are real, folks. They don't just happen to older folks. They're starting to happen to young people who are using their phones and going to their apps, and they're getting sucked in through social media. So be careful for your young folks as well as your elders.
When Randy Socolato was here last week, he was talking about this stuff too, and because I was asking him, because we had a story last week of someone lost $50,000, and I said, why doesn't that send up red flags, Randy? He goes, it's because they're not asking for $50,000 up front.
Right.
Oh, so they're starting small.
Yeah. Hey, I need $2,000.
And even when that, they just say, it's like the playbook. We got 6 weeks, maybe
Yep.
8 weeks
Yeah.
of all sweetness and wonderfulness.
Yep.
And then we start with, it's always something small, like $1,000.
Yep.
And then the person that they're scamming says, well, you're a nice guy, you're a nice woman, I'll send you $1,000.
Yeah.
And they're smart. They say, no, I
Right.
don't
I don't
want
want
you
it.
to.
Right.
I don't need you. No, that's not what we're all about. And then they go back and forth, and they said, okay, well, if you insist.
Right. It's exactly what
And so you send them $1,000.
Yeah.
And then it grows on top of that.
Yep.
And there's another crisis, and
Yep.
another crisis, and each crisis gets higher in value.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
now you're sucked in. And
now
all
you're
of a
sucked in.
sudden, you're part of it, and you can't stop yourself for some reason.
Right.
Wow.
And that is just, and the bad guys find newer and newer ways to separate you from your hard-earned savings. And we're trying everything we can at the credit union to not have that happen. So when we ask questions that seem like they are a little invasive, perhaps, it's not because we're interested in what you're doing this weekend. We're interested in you not losing all of your life savings. So if you have any questions about it, give us a call, 233-4700. Our contact center is well-versed in how to spot these things. You can stop into any branch office and ask for a little help. Please ask for help. Don't do this alone.
All righty. Down in North Kingstown, a 59-year-old man, is in critical condition. A 1,500-pound steel plate fell on his leg.
Oh,
Yeah. He was taken to Rhode Island Trauma Center by helicopter because he couldn't walk.
well, yeah. Thanks, Joe.
Yeah.
It was his,
And
it was his right leg.
The accident is under investigation, but
Where did it happen?
North Kingstown,
It doesn't say where.
at the ASC Engineered Solutions
Oh, okay.
business.
Yeah.
They just
Manufacturing something, I guess. Maybe.
Yep, and it just fell over in the wrong place at the wrong time. This happened 2:30 Tuesday afternoon.
Yep.
The emergency personnel had to come in and remove the 1,500-pound steel plate.
Yeah.
The 3 guys get around trying to lift it. We can't lift it.
Right.
So we need the big stuff.
Must have crushed his leg. I wonder if the hit is like an artery that runs down your leg. That's
Well, it doesn't say where on the leg it got hit,
yeah.
but yeah, it's there is something in your thigh that
Right.
could bleed out.
Right.
But it didn't happen. He's still alive.
Yeah. Well, it's good.
But could he lose the leg?
Yeah. And they flew him. They
Possibly.
flew him to the hospital, which is
That
you
means
got to be. They didn't want to deal with the traffic on the 195 bridge.
That's right. We got to go over that. Go and get the OR ready because
Right.
we're
Get
bringing
the
somebody in.
Exactly.
So a driver is accused of hitting two elderly pedestrians. The driver's been cited for civil offense, and he's elderly.
Oh. Well,
Elderly man driving, 83 years old. He's issued a citation for not yielding to pedestrians in a crosswalk.
wow. That's what I worry about with like my mom and with just your ability to react quickly slows down.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what do you do? I don't want to take I'm certainly not going to take her driver's license away because she's a very good driver. She doesn't. I try to tell her not to drive at night either. Just I'll take you wherever you need to go, whatever the thing is. Just drive during the day when it's bright out and you can see where you're going. And
Those bright flashing yellow lights, we got them here in downtown Woonsocket and a
Yeah.
couple of places, really work.
they do.
They really catch my eye.
Yep.
I'm driving home Monday night from Autumn Fest.
Yeah.
And I'm driving up, it's not 140, but I'm driving up Bellingham into Franklin, heading to 495.
Yep.
And it's dark out.
Yep.
And I look far ahead, and I can see a white light. It's not up where the street lights are, flashing back and forth.
Yep.
I'm like, gee, I wonder what that is. And, I know what that is. And so I slow down.
Yeah.
And it's a family. There's a mom and dad, a kid, and I think a dog, too.
Yeah.
And they're doing the right thing. They're standing at the crosswalk. I can't see the crosswalk.
Right.
It's too dark.
Yeah.
There's no lights there.
Right.
And they waited for me. They didn't say, well,
Right.
I got the right of way. I'm just going to start walking.
Right.
But but they waited for me to come to a stop before they got into the crosswalk to cross.
So are you familiar with Davenport's restaurant in Cumberland? It's the old Cellos, right?
Cellos, yeah. Used
So
to be Cellos.
that parking lot that they have one across the
Across
street.
the street,
So you can
yeah.
cross the street and go. Now, Mendon Road can be a nightmare, right? It's right there at the lights.
Yeah.
So for years it was just a crosswalk, and it was take your life in your own hands when you cross that. And recently they put in one of those yellow
Flashers?
flashing lights scenarios systems right there at that crosswalk. It's fantastic.
It's working?
You hit the button, the lights start flashing.
Oh, yeah.
And people will slow down and stop, which is great. They have one in New Hampshire near my place up there. It's just they put it in because the road is a pain in the neck to try and cross. But as soon as you hit that button and those lights flash, people stop. And I don't think people don't want to stop for people in a crosswalk. I just, like you said, I don't think that they know the crosswalk's there, or they're not.
Right.
It's not
lit-
evident
lit
to them
well
as they
enough.
drive down the road. Right.
Lighted, I guess.
Or even during the day, just
Yeah.
you're driving along, you mind your own business, and then all of a sudden there's a crosswalk and somebody in it.
And sometimes the crosswalk, the painting in the crosswalk has faded away.
Right, you don't see it. Right, so the
And
reflection's
so
gone.
that's right. And you need the town to come out and repaint it, and they say, well, we don't have the money
Right.
to come out just yet. Maybe
Can I
it'll
go
be
buy
in
some
next-
white paint and a roller? I'll do that for you.
Maybe in next year's budget,
Right.
we'll have it. So, if you see flashing lights at night,
Right, please stop.
it's something's going. Yeah,
It's not just that. It's those
something.
on the on ramps now, or the off ramps, or whatever they are, in some of these highways. They've got the do not enter signs. Remember they used to have that,
Yes,
and they had a lot of
yeah,
people
yeah.
going the wrong way. And now they've got now they got those signs, but they're also surrounded with red LED lights,
lights that
so that at night
flash.
they're flashing all the time, so you don't go down the wrong road.
The opposite side of that, and I've seen it here in Woonsocket, over on South Main Street and on Clinton Street too, where the yellow lights are flashing, but nobody's in the crosswalk, and I can't see anybody around. Has someone hit it and walked away, or is it malfunctioning?
Yeah, that's a good question.
I don't know because you're there, you slow down, you look both ways. There's nobody around.
It's probably a
All
kid in
right.
the bushes hitting the button. Ding dong ditch. It's a new version of that.
Well, all right. Let's see now. No injuries are reported after a 3-alarm fire at a commercial building in Providence.
Yeah.
Yesterday, firefighters were called to Westminster Street near Ogie's Trailer Park
Oh, that's a great place, by the way. They have great tater tots. Oh, I'm sorry.
Really?
I digress.
on Tuesday evening. It took crews about an hour to control the fire, which led to a partial collapse of the building's roof. There was no one inside the building when the fire started, and the cause of the blaze is under
I
investigation.
think it was one of those old mill buildings, right? So
Is
it's
it?
like,
Just
you've seen them in
not
Woonsocket
abandoned.
when they get going, right? They're
And
lucky.
the best thing to do is let it go.
In some cases, you're right.
We'll protect
I don't think
the
they wanted
buildings
to
that are
let
around
this one
it.
go because all the
Yeah.
businesses around it. So I think that Providence did a really good job at protecting those businesses and surrounding and just letting the thing go into itself.
We have a story here about the up in Salem, Massachusetts. It is Halloween and time, and they've already the people have converged already
In Salem.
on Salem, Mass. Mostly on the weekends.
Yep.
And it's just more and more people come to the city. Great for the economy.
Yeah.
But it's a small town. There's
Yep.
not much going on. And my daughter actually considered going to school there.
Yep.
And I said, it's great up here in Salem, but just remember at Halloween time, it is crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy busy up here for 1 month.
Right.
And then it all goes away.
Well, they
but that
create-
1 month is nuts.
They create a beautifully designed tourist attraction, right?
Yeah.
That time of the year, a couple people go one year and they say how great it was. They invite more people, and then those people go and tell more people, and so on and so on and so on. Now you have this massive thing that happens in Salem once a year.
Yep.
And it's a blessing and a curse all at the same time. I'll give you an example. New Hampshire last weekend, Columbus Day weekend, leaf peeping season.
Oh yeah.
I got more notifications on my phone
Of where the-
about traffic
Oh, okay.
and people in the White Mountains.
They're
There was
everywhere.
a 3-hour traffic jam on the Kankamangas Highway, which goes basically
wow.
from Conway to
Yeah.
Lincoln, right?
Yeah.
People along the way stopping at the
stop.
scenic views
Yeah.
and stopping on the side of the road and looking at the leaves
and the
it's like,
mountains,
wow!
okay.
And they showed people on top of over near Cannon. There's a Artist's Bluff. It's
Okay.
a giant rock. The number of people on this rock next to the edge. I'm going, oh man, it's just going to take one person to fall, and it's just going, oh boy. So that was the big thing this year. But it's people are dying to go see nice things and do fun
Yeah.
things.
Do fun things again.
And it's it's pent up. I think you're going to see more.
This happened one year, years ago. It was well, I wasn't involved with Autumnfest in any way, so went up to the White Mountains, and we got stuck in a traffic jam. There were two couples, and we were near Attitash, trying
Yep.
to get to North Conway.
Right, 302.
On 302.
Yep.
And it was just stop and go.
Yeah.
And we just and we were still quite a ways.
Right.
To get to North Conway, and we said, forget it, and we turned around and we went to Attitash, went on the slide.
Yeah. Well, that's because, again, you've created this great tourist attraction,
Yeah.
but you put these traffic lights in the middle of the city, which back traffic up
Backs
for
traffic up,
miles and
yeah.
miles and miles. And it's because
Now,
you need to have traffic control.
Now, since you were up there last weekend, are they doing road construction up there like crazy, like what's going down here in Rhode Island and Mass? Seems like everywhere there's road construction.
In New Hampshire, they do road construction at night. They pave the roads like every 3 years.
Okay.
So it's
whether it needs it or not.
yeah, well, just to get rid of little bumps and stuff. They literally grind off the top surface and they put a new surface down.
Okay.
And they fix the bridges. And there's usually areas where there might be, up in the northern part of 93, there might be some congestion because they've narrowed down to one lane. But the traffic never backs up. It used to back up at the toll booths.
Yes.
But
yeah.
now the toll booths have all been
Pass.
replaced with the Easy Pass and the electronic camera system, so that most of the people just go through at 65 miles an hour and everything's fine.
All right. Before we take our next break here in the Coffee and program and get a message from Tim, early voting has started in Rhode Island and in Massachusetts because my wife likes to vote by mail. So the ballot arrived yesterday, and so we sat down and we filled it out, and now she has voted.
Yeah, she's
I
voted.
go on election day.
I'm an old school guy. I want to go on election day. I want to go on the
Yeah.
day that they tell me to go.
So we went in, filled everything out, and I go, okay. I put it back in the mail today. You're all set. You have voted this time around. So
I think we've talked about it with John on the show. I'm all about doing a week-long open voting thing.
yeah, instead of just
Right.
one day.
But there's something about needing to have some sort of vested interest in the process. You need to know who you want to vote for, know your candidates, and then you should be able to go to some place to vote.
The problem with the mail-in ballots
Yep.
is I have to have a lot of faith that I'm sending it to my town hall. Someone there's going to open this, and I have to believe they're going to feed this into the machine.
Yep.
I will never know if it actually happens.
Right. I mean,
And maybe the post office loses it.
yep.
I don't
And
know.
once
I
it's
don't
out of your
know
hands, you don't know.
It's gone. That's right.
Right.
And I hope it works.
Which it concerns me when they have the ballot folks from campaigns that go to your house and hey, listen, we'll help you with your vote. Just fill out the form and then I'll take it down to the board of canvassers for you. It's that type of thing. I'm like,
Yeah.
even if it's sealed, the fact that somebody else entered the process and not me makes me uncomfortable.
And I think this is how it works in Mass. Is the board of canvassers in my town collect everything that comes in the mail and we put it over here,
yeah,
and we actually wait
Yeah.
to election day,
I think so too.
and then it's someone's job or two-person's job. I don't know. Feed it into the machine.
Right.
Nothing gets fed in early. I don't believe that. So, okay.
But really,
I
what
hope it
stops
happens.
what stops the workers in the election offices from not looking at the votes? Oh, they
Well,
don't
they
know
will.
who had voted. They don't know who voted. That's right. They don't know who it did, who it came from. They can just see the vote. They wouldn't know
Well, I'm
who
hoping
the
you.
vote came from.
Well, they do because
You don't put your name on it, do you?
No, but the packet arrived in the mail yesterday.
Yeah.
So if you want, I could have brought it down to town hall
Yeah.
and given it to the board of canvassers.
Yeah.
Or I can mail it back.
Yeah.
When I mail it back, my name and address is on a printed label in the return address area. It's already there.
Interesting.
So it is going to town hall.
Yeah.
Someone is going to see our name on it.
Yeah, and they're gonna know how you voted.
But unless it's done differently, let's say you and I are there, Tim, and
Yeah.
my job is to open the ballots
Yep.
from the mail.
Yep.
And then I hand the ballot to you.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, I've seen a couple of circles have been filled in, but I'm not feeding it into the machine.
Yeah.
I don't have any control over that. I give it to you. You have no idea unless I tell you, hey, this is Dave Rich's ballot.
Yeah.
that kind of
Hey,
thing.
how did Dave vote?
Oh, well, let's take a look for
Oh, that guy didn't vote for me?
Oh, yeah.
Or my candidate? I'm going to tell my candidate and let them know.
Or rip, oops.
Yeah, right. Oh, it
No,
doesn't
I
work
can't fit
anymore.
into the machine.
Yeah. I don't know.
I'm hoping it's
this
a
is
lot.
this is our really dark areas that we go to in life, Joe.
that's
That
right,
you
that
and
we
I
shouldn't.
don't have faith in anyone.
And that's why we vote on election day. All right, Tim, time for a second message, please, from Navigant Credit Union.
Thank you, Joe. Just because the fall is here and it's upon us and it's a beautiful time, a lot of people are still thinking about doing some work around the house. And if you are thinking about doing some work around the house, we encourage you to look online at navigantcu.org and check out all of our great lending products that you might be able to use to help do that construction project. Maybe you want to change the kitchen over before the holidays. You may want to, clean up your deck. You may want to make a 3-season porch so you can spend a little more time outside. Use the equity in the house if you have it. It's really not an expensive way to make some significant changes and add value to your property. So to do that, it's pretty simple. You can go online. You can actually fill out your application right there at navigantcu.org. Navigate over to the Lending Center, and you read through all the different options that you have, and then select the one you want. Fill out the application, and just like that, you're in business. So again, navigantcu.org is the website. 233-4700 if you want to talk to somebody about those products first. Contact somebody over in our call center here in the beautiful town of Smithfield and Lincoln. Actually, it's right on the border. And we'll be happy to chat with you about that.
Very good there, Tim, and more Coffee Hands coming up. Stay tuned.
As drivers, we encounter motorcycles on the road every day, and motorcycle safety is a two-way street. So give motorcycles extra space when stopping and starting. Check your mirrors and blind spots. Share the road, but never try and share a lane. Every rider could be a father, a son or a brother, a mother, a daughter or a sister, or the whole world to someone very special. Brought to you by the Rhode Island Police Chiefs Association and the Rhode Island Broadcasters Association.
Celebrate St. James CYO and Youth Ministry in Manville, Rhode Island. In honor of the parish's 150th anniversary, a CYO and Youth Ministry open house reunion will be held on Sunday, October 27th from 1 to 4 p.m. in the parish gym. Reconnect with friends and relive your favorite memories from sports, dances, plays, singing in the choir, and more. For more information, visit stjamesmanville.org. That's SAINT, jamesmanville.org. Don't miss out. Spread the word and celebrate with us.
You can depend on us for public service. ON Radio.
And it is Coffee In on ON AM and FM. Thanks for joining us. This is Joe Callahan here. Tim Draper is with us, and Tim, there's a ballot question in Massachusetts, and I saw a poll yesterday, and Channel 4 did a poll. They polled 700 people. I don't know why that's the number they polled, but that's what they polled. And the ballot question, what number? It could be 4. It's 4 out of 5, I think. Is should we allow psychedelic drugs to be legal? Under certain circumstances.
See, this is how it starts. Marijuana first.
Marijuana first.
Then we start going down the slippery slope.
And now the poll, 63% is yes.
Oh my God! For psychedelic drugs?
Yes.
Why?
Oh well, they don't have that answer.
Oh my goodness!
That's what people. The 700 people that they polled, 63% said, "Oh yeah, we're voting yes for that."
Oh
and the
no!
other 24,
oh, that's
or
boy.
19% or whatever it is.
What is wrong with you people in Massachusetts?
I don't know. 14% are still unsure. I'm like, well, I said, I can't believe how far apart this is. I mean, maybe it'll close, but
why don't we just make cocaine legal?
Well, that'll be next,
and then crack.
It's gonna. You're right. We started with marijuana, and that's
right.
okay. And everything's. Is everybody okay with it now? Yep, everybody's okay with it now.
Right.
Let's move on to the next one. We got to do it one at a time.
Oh.
I'm like, oh boy, here we go.
Yep.
So that's what's going on there, and those are the kinds of questions I get to vote for in Massachusetts. All right. Other things going on. You remember Milli Vanilli?
Yeah.
The duo that was stripped of a Grammy for lip syncing, they're back on the music charts.
Are they really?
Netflix does a lot of this. They go grab stuff you just never think to grab.
Yep.
And now they're back on the charts thanks to Netflix and a duo convicted of murder. The EP Milli Vanilli 4 sneaks into this week's Billboard 200. They're at number 197.
Wow. Are they actually singing?
It was the song they said it was theirs, I guess. Milli Vanilli's music has been featured in the Netflix series Monsters, the Lyle and Eric Menendez story out there in California. 3 songs are heard in the first episode. Girl, You Know It's True. Girl, I'm Gonna Miss You. And 3, Blame It on the Rain. I remember Blame It on the Rain.
Yeah,
that was a big hit.
Mm-hmm.
Girl, I'm Gonna Miss You is also featured in episode 9. The Menendez brothers were convicted of murdering their parents in 1989. Same year, Milli Vanilli had 3 #1 songs that they didn't sing. So who does the money go to?
I don't
Because
know.
they've died.
Who?
They both
the
have
Milli
died.
Vanilli died?
One committed suicide, and one
Oh, yeah, that's right.
and one was shot. I
didn't remember the other one,
I thought they were both. I could be wrong on that one.
The estate,
But I thought both
kids,
of them
the family,
had died,
whatever.
So, I don't know.
I think it's more fascinating about the Menendez brothers. Rosie O'Donnell is going to help them out. She thinks
In
they're
which way?
innocent. She's.
No, they've admitted to shooting them
I know. She thinks that they should be out by now.
because
They've served their
they
time.
served their
They're,
time
they're good citizens. They've graduated college. They've
from prison.
yeah, right. So
They're fine, wholesome boys.
fine, wholesome boys that shot their parents.
I know they had a rough childhood.
They
growing
apparently
up,
did, and that's what the whole story is about
know.
exactly how rough that actually was.
You know the Lyle and Eric story, Dave?
Yes, I'm afraid I do.
Okay.
I'm afraid.
All right. So I don't know if Tim.
I'm not interested in the TV show.
Yeah, no, me
No,
neither.
I'm not either. Tom Brady is going to be the owner.
He's
One of the
gonna-
owners.
You know what?
of
I
the
wondered.
Los
So it's
Angeles, Las Vegas Raiders.
5% of the Vegas Raiders, right? Is that what it is? As a
I thought it was
minority owner,
10.
maybe 10.
10%
I wonder if he's just
stake. Yeah.
if this is the way people get into full ownership of a team. I'm going to buy a minority
yeah.
stake.
Oh, yeah.
So
Oh,
that's
yeah.
his ultimate goal is to own the Raiders.
Yes. And eventually he'll stop buying out the
All
other
the
owners.
other owners. Yeah.
And now
He'll show the other owners that he's a good boy and that he's
he wants to go to the meetings with Robert Kraft and sit at the table and
Right.
make decisions.
yeah, well,
But what this does is
Start off as a 10% owner of a little 80-90 dock at FM station in Edgewater, Florida.
and then you end up
And then you end up owning...
as a tycoon in Woonsocket.
Yeah, you
As a
end up
media
owning
magnet.
51% of the station in Woonsocket, and then eventually 100%. And yeah, that's how you do it.
Right?
because back when a few weeks ago when Jacoby Brissett was not doing well, the rumors started swirling around. Hey, maybe we can sign Tom Brady to come back.
Yeah, no.
And it was, but now it's officially you can't.
You're right.
That's one of the rules.
Yep.
As the owner, you cannot be a player.
Right.
So okay, he's now
Glad they don't have that rule in broadcasting.
Unless
Yeah,
he
my-
gives up his stake in.
Well, that's
the
my
team,
that's my question about the broadcasting deal because he's still with Fox. He's still broadcasting
but
games.
he's got
He's got restrictions
limitations
now.
yeah, so he
Big
can't
limitations.
he can't do their games. He can't do the Raiders games. I don't believe.
Well,
That's
he-
probably one of them, but he's got other restrictions.
But he can't
too.
go to any NFL properties, their organization, for production meetings or any other reason for interviews.
Yep.
He can't do that.
No
Do you
locker
think
room
Fox?
stuff.
Do you think Fox
No locker
knew
room
that he had that?
because he can't because he's an
Yes.
owner.
Yeah.
He can't be anywhere where any kind of strategy might be divulged
Yep.
or anything else like that.
And yes, I think Fox knew exactly that. But he's the name.
Yeah.
People will tune in to the football game whether they care about the St. Louis Cardinals. They're not a team anymore. Whether they care about the San Diego Chargers,
Yep.
LA Chargers, and whoever they're playing.
Yep.
They'll tune in to hear Tom and his analysis of the game.
Which
That's
I
what
wonder
they're
how long
counting
that'll be
on.
lived because I'm not sure that that's a great analysis of the game.
Well,
Tom
it-
needs a little work.
And I've heard that, and that's not. I will not tune in just because Tom is calling the game.
Yeah.
If it happens that works out, he's calling the game I'm interested in. Okay, fine.
Yeah.
But I will not go. Oh, gee, I have to watch this game because
Oh, yeah, no, me
Tom
neither.
is doing it.
Right.
No.
Right.
Well, a lot
but
of that
we're
was
different, I think.
A lot of that was X blocks the square. They didn't
Yes.
want CBS to have them.
Yeah.
Or
so
ESPN, or the other. You're right. Or the other
exactly.
guys.
So, but for myself, I would much rather hear what Bill Belichick thinks
Right.
on a microphone during a game for strategy than Tom Brady, because Tom Brady was he was a contributory follower toward the end of his career.
That's funny because they do that, and the thing you like where Eli and Peyton Manning are watching Monday Night Football and making comments during the game.
Right.
Well, they bring in different people to also make comments. Last week they brought in Bill Belichick.
Yeah,
And they were talking about the coach of the Jets
Yeah.
getting fired.
Yeah.
yeah. Did he
And,
say that's a stupid question?
No,
No, he said it was too-
He did that when he was coach.
It was a stupid
No.
thing to do.
He blasted the Jets.
Right. Too early. Way too early to do that.
He said he goes, it's typical of the Jets.
Yep.
And how
Hot-headed
it's
management. Is that what he was
something
referring
like
to?
that.
I
yeah.
wonder how much of that was Aaron
And
Rodgers.
I don't know. He says he said he was blindsided when he came in and heard about it.
Yeah.
But Belichick, he said, it's typical of the Jets. It's always ready, fire, aim. I said, wow.
Yeah. Well,
So yeah, he was not happy with the Jets ownership.
He didn't have to be.
Well, that's right.
If I was
He's
the
a
Patriots, I'd
spectator
grab is it Robert Saleh?
Salah, yeah.
Yeah, I would bring him into be our defensive coordinator
Oh,
right away.
Sure, that would be funny.
Right away. We've made no moves. I feel like we should be doing something
something's
to
gonna
improve the offensive line.
Something's going to happen depending on the outcome of this game on Sunday, because it's 2 1-5 teams
Yep.
doing battle over in England.
Yeah.
If we lose, now we're really the worst team in the league,
Yep.
and something might be done. If we win, they might stay the status quo through the rest of the year.
Maybe. Okay.
So it all depends. It's a make or break game. It turns out to be a make or break game for the Patriots this Sunday.
Right. I think the coaching staff is the most at stake right now.
Yes, and because they keep coming out and saying the mistakes that they've made.
Right.
Don't blame the players. This has been all on us.
Right.
We're doing the wrong thing.
And I'm not sure that it's Gerard Mayo.
No, it's the coordinators.
It's the coordinators.
It's the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinators.
Right.
All right. On that note, the sports huddle is over. All right. Thanks
Glad
for
I came back.
Thanks, Dave. And so that's the end of the Coffee and program. Tim Draper, thanks for sticking around today.
Joe, thanks for having me, Dave. It's been a great day here in the station, and it's a beautiful day outside, so everybody go out and enjoy the God-given day.
All right. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
2 weeks!
All righty. Very good. And Dave, thanks for coming in.
You betcha.
Appreciate it.
Sorry I couldn't be here for the whole thing, but I had a few things to take care of. And thank you very much for remembering our dear friend Jackie Boudreau every week, Tim, when you sign off. I appreciate that. That makes me feel nice and warm and fuzzy inside.
All right. I'm Joe Callahan. Have a great day.
And Melissa, we miss you.
Melissa will be back next week. Community Care Alliance is next here on ON Radio, followed by Gary Smith and the crew. And do we remember at 9:30?
Broadcasting live and local daily from the Navigant Credit Union broadcast studio at the corner of Park Avenue and Kennedy Street. This is WOON Woonsocket Radio. And now, the news. We are being told that toy maker Hasbro has narrowed down its search for a new headquarters to 6 locations, all in Boston. Hasbro is considering a move from the company's Rhode Island headquarters to a new space in Boston, considering why they're still narrowing down the list in Boston while the governor of Rhode Island's been talking to them. I'd say that's more than considering, but that's just my opinion. Hasbro officials reportedly are interested in locations near South Station and the South Line complex in Dorchester. At least that's not the other side of Boston. Well, Hasbro officials say that they're in exploratory phase and they are not close to signing a lease yet, so Rhode Island should still continue to try to court them to stay here. Rhode Island Governor Dan McKee says demolition in the Washington Bridge project has resumed and demolition of the substructure has been moved up to February of 25 to ensure a more timely and efficient continuity of work. The governor also says the state's going to open a new 2-step procurement process for the bridge construction, which is preferred by a majority of the companies that participated in the request for information process.
NBC News Radio, I'm Michael Kastner. More than 90 people are still unaccounted for in western North Carolina as relief efforts tied to Helene continue. More from Mark Mayfield.
Governor Roy Cooper and federal officials gave an update on how communities are recovering from the storm that killed dozens of people in the state. FEMA says it will not be deterred by misinformation and will continue to help those that were impacted by Helene. On Tuesday, the agency's disaster survivor assistance teams resumed normal operations after threats made against workers impacted their regular services over the weekend. FEMA says its top priority is keeping staff safe and helping people in disaster-impacted communities. I'm Mark Mayfield.
Vice President Kamala Harris says she's confident she'll win in November. In a radio town hall event on Tuesday, Harris said the race is tight, but predicted she'll win. Early voting has already begun in several states, including Georgia, where a record number of votes were cast yesterday. Former President Trump refused to talk about whether or not he's spoken with Russian President Vladimir Putin since he left the White House. Brian Shook reports.
He was asked about Putin during an interview with Bloomberg News at the Economic Club of Chicago Tuesday.
Well, I don't comment on that, but I will tell you that if I did, it's a smart thing.
Trump did defend the idea of him having talks with Putin since he's been out of office. He said, if I'm friendly with people, if I have a relationship with people, that's a good thing, not a bad thing. Bob Woodward wrote in his new book that Trump and Putin have secretly remained in contact the past few years. I'm Brian Shook.
Trump is doubling down on his recent claims that Democrats are the enemy from within. Last Sunday, Trump was asked on Fox News how he would handle his critics in a second term, and he responded by saying Democrats were more dangerous than China or Russia. Michael Kastner, NBC News Radio.
This ONAM and FM weather forecast is sponsored by Inferno Audio for remote car starters and for copies of your car keys at prices far lower than the dealership. See Keith at Inferno Audio, 160 Clinton Street in Woonsocket. Visit infernoaudio.com. Mostly sunny skies today with a high of 53 degrees and a breeze from the northwest. Tonight, patchy frost after 2 a.m., otherwise clear, overnight low of 34 degrees. Thursday's weather, patchy frost in the morning, sunshine during the day with a high of 56 and a breeze from the north. Friday, sunshine in 60, Saturday, sunshine in 68, Sunday, sunshine in 72. Monday, sunshine in 74, and next Tuesday, sunny skies and 73 degrees.
ON Radio.
Good morning and welcome to Community Connections. I'm Wendy Pyrus with Community Care Alliance, a multi-service agency serving Northern Rhode Island and other areas of the state. We support individuals and families in their efforts to meet economic, social, and emotional challenges and enhance their well-being. For more information about our programs and services, call 235-7000 or visit communitycareri.org. Today we'll be discussing CCBHC, and our guests for the show are Sarah Cohen. She is the director of CCBHC Mobile Crisis Team at Community Care Alliance. Good morning, Sarah.
Hi, good morning.
We also have Felicity Dyer, who's the Community Behavioral Health Liaison at Community Care Alliance and part of CCBHC. Good morning, Felicity.
Good morning, Wendy.
So we're just going to start off with a quote. So the launch happened last week, I believe, that October 1st, that CCBHC actually became active in Rhode Island, and we will get to more about what it is, because I know that's an acronym that all of you are going, what does that mean? But first, I want to start off with a little bit of a quote from our CEO, Ben Lessing. The launch of CCBHC this month is the accumulation of uncountable hours and a labor born out of concern for those who have not had a say in how they are treated for their mental health and behavioral health concerns. That is all about to change as we follow CCBHC standards and more consistently tailor services to community needs assessments and community advisory boards from various catchment areas. So basically he's saying that mental health services and behavioral health services are going to change for the people to better and what people needs. So let's just start. Let's break it down. What is CCBHC?
Yes, we love the acronyms in the health world, but a CCBHC is a Certified Community Behavioral Health Clinic. That means we're here to provide all the mental health and substance use services that you may need, whether it's for, alcohol and drug use treatment, counseling, therapy, family care, and mental health services, as well as 24/7 crisis support. We are here for whatever you may need across the spectrum.
So again, it's Certified Community Behavioral Health Clinic.
Correct.
Okay. So when we're just going to refer to it, guys, for the rest of the show as CCBHC, though I may stumble over that long acronym as well. So let's just break this down. So who can access CCBHC? How does that work? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so that is the great thing. Anybody can access a CCBHC, regardless of age, gender, race, where you are at in your substance use journey or mental health care. We are here for you regardless of even your ability to pay.
Awesome. So talk about accessing services, what that looks like, sort of break it down for us. And so, as much as you can so that people understand, again, what that means to them. What does this mean for them? I think everybody listening is going, okay, that's great, but what does that mean for me?
Yeah, so accessing services can be as simple as either calling our emergency service line or even walking into our location at 800 Clinton Street for a walk-in service to really get started on your journey. If you are someone who might not even know where to start, that's a great way to go and talk about where you are at. If you're someone who's struggling with your substance use and want to get some detox, we can also help with there. We really are a full inclusive, so no matter where you are on your journey or where you want to be, we can be able to help you with that as well.
I will also add our walk-in services are Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can walk in right off the street with no prior input or knowledge into CCA and get the services right there.
And where are they walking into?
The 800 Clinton Street in Woonsocket, and we're in Suite 101, so right on that first floor to the left.
Awesome. So Monday through Friday from 8 to 2, they can walk into that. Now, what if it's not during that time frame?
If it's not during that time frame, we do suggest to call our emergency services line, which I can tell you now, it's 235-7120. Somebody is always going to answer that phone 24/7, and we can assess over the phone, find out your needs, schedule you for an intake the next day if needed, or we can come out to the home and assess you right there in a space that is comfortable, private, and personal to you.
So Felicity, you mentioned substance use, but my understanding that this is not just substance use, this is behavioral and mental health as well. So talk about what would be a reason to call or get assessed versus not a reason? Do we have a frame line, or would you say anybody's welcome to call? Is there a crisis versus non-crisis?
Absolutely. So yes, anybody is welcome to call. Crisis really is defined by the person themselves. We are not going to define that for the individual. When you call, we will assess what's going on, and it will be a number of different options that we can offer you. So if we are able to talk to you over the phone, provide that supportive counseling right there over the phone, and then get you in the next day, that's what we'll do. If you already are established with a provider in another community agency or Community Care Alliance, we'll connect you with your case manager, try to get you an appointment with your psychiatrist if that's something you need. And then if the crisis does deem immediate needing that support right now, we will come out to the home.
What if the person calling feels like it's more of a higher crisis than you have assessed? What would you do in that circumstance? Because I know sometimes when you're in it, it feels so much bigger than when you're sort of assessing it on the outside.
Absolutely. Our team and Mobile Crisis and Emergency Services is made up of licensed clinicians and case managers, peer specialists, nurses from various backgrounds and expertise. So we are trained over the phone to talk through safety, talk through symptoms, talk through support, coping skills. And if at the end of that conversation, you as an individual still say, you know what, I need a human person to talk to me right now in person, then that's what we'll do. But we do attempt to do a pretty comprehensive assessment over the phone just to get a full picture.
Awesome. So they would call in and they would say that they're in crisis, and then you would break down sort of what's happening for them and figure out who do you need to connect to them, what is the next steps.
Yes.
And then how is it left if the call is done? Do you follow back? What's the next step? Just so somebody who's listening can sort of get a big picture as to what this means if I was to call.
Sure. There's a lot of different avenues that it could go. So if you're looking for sort of a one-time support call, you call, we talk to you. We always encourage you to call back if you need anything, but there may not be a lot of follow-up. We'll always ask, do you have providers in the community? Are you looking for further services? We can offer one of our many services that Community Care Alliance offers to that individual. We do attempt to close the loop, so to say, on every call that comes in. We never want to leave someone just hanging in the abyss, so to say. So we do try to do that. We will follow up. We will go out to the home multiple times to make contact if that's what's needed. And I can say firsthand that our team definitely doesn't let folks fall between the cracks.
At what point would maybe more specialized care be brought in? So if somebody was sort of assessed at a higher level than maybe they thought they were at, what would happen in that case?
Absolutely. We do have really fantastic relationships with our EMS and our law enforcement teams in our catchment area, which is, Northern Rhode Island, Lincoln, Cumberland, North Smithfield, Woonsocket, and Burrillville. We work very closely with them. So if somebody does deem to need a higher level of care for safety, we can intervene and coordinate with hospitalization. We have the BH Link, which is an amazing service through CCA, which is an urgent care for mental health. So we coordinate with the BH Link. We also have an acute stabilization unit, which is short-term stabilization in a safe environment. So we do have options for folks that are needing a higher level of care for safety.
Okay, so now somebody listening is saying, wow, okay, this is awesome. I'm definitely going to write this number down, which is 235-7120, and I'm going to keep this in the back of my head. But what is this going to cost me?
So how
does that work?
Great question. So I think it's scary, even personally, when you have to deal with insurances and going into a doctor's office. But the great thing is with CCBHC is that we're able to offer more support when it comes to these, whether it's going through your insurances. If you're on state insurance, for example, or need to get on state insurance too, we can assist with that. But if you come into our office, and even if there is a deductible or a copay, we can work with our sliding scale and really meet you where you're at so you can get that care you need without having to worry about where that money is coming from to pay for it.
Yeah, so without having to worry about that big overhead that hospitals, and I think that's what we're trying to prevent at this point, is people having these high hospital bills, having to go in with no insurance and having this collection agency sort of coming after you, and there's no way to pay that, and now you're in debt over care that you needed.
CCBHC really breaks down barriers that have been typically part of our system for so long, our mental health system. Those barriers are deteriorating, and we're really just trying to meet people where they're at and serve folks that don't have the means or the resources.
So is this only for adults?
No, we do. So we do have a children's department within Community Care Alliance. They are fantastic. You can access them by calling the main number, 235-7000, and getting connected with them. But we also, as part of CCBHC, have partnered with an amazing organization called TIDES. And TIDES is really collaborating with us on children's crisis calls. So when a call comes in for a youth under the age of 18, we will call them, we partner, we will respond with them to the home, or they will sort of take it as that is their expertise. So fantastic organization.
Awesome. So if somebody is just coming on this call right now, I would love to do just sort of an overall recap. We've given a lot of information out. I'd love to do a recap of what we're just talking about, CCBHC, and what that means to them. Is that possible to do a quick recap?
Sure.
If somebody's just listening right now and they're wanting to know what we're talking about.
Yeah. Yes. So we're talking about a new movement is really what it is in mental health services. And Rhode Island has moved into becoming a certified community behavioral health clinic state. So there's about 10 agencies within the state that have moved forward with that new model of care. It is very collaborative. We have multiple services provided through Community Care Alliance. Felicity, do you want to speak a little bit to, what it is?
Yeah, so
technically, sort of the standards and things like that.
So for those of us just joining in, to go back over, we keep talking about this acronym CCBHC, which stands for Certified Community Behavioral Health Clinic. Again, that's why we use the acronym. It is a mouthful, but we are here for all of your mental health and substance use service needs across the lifespan, children, adults, even seniors, to be able to go through and talk